make sense.
Is this tree in the way, or is it good? Is it too close in our line of sight?
It feels like a tree in the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's fully decorated. This is how it'll be during Christmas.
This is final cut.
We're recording now, so you can tell everybody.
Oh.
This tree is not done yet. Don't judge my tree decorating skills.
My angry wife's off camera, telling everyone.
The real boss is saying this tree will look better.
Yeah.
Don't judge.
After Thanksgiving, it's new. We plugged it in. Don't judge.
It's also not working on the lower half, the lower third.
I'm judging that.
Yeah.
I'm judging their quality of workmanship from Home Depot. That's what I'm saying.
Whoa.
Or China, wherever it's from.
That's all.
Okay. All right, viewers. Welcome back to the special episode of the podcast, Suncrest Podcast, brought to you by Stefen Chevalier's Baja Blast.
But don't worry, 0 calories, y'all. 0 calories.
0 cal. Who doesn't need caffeine late in the day like this?
I don't need to drink my calories, typically.
All right. We'll start this podcast episode. Today on the episode, we have one of my dear friends from a long time ago. We'll kind of fill in the gap here of why I'm saying that. But Stefen Chevalier, welcome to the podcast. A Suncrest resident of how long now? How long has it been?
It'd be 3 years, I think.
3 years?
January of 2020, right before the big winter. 2021, I think.
Yeah, because you gotta jump in with all of us on 2022.
Yeah, I gotta just enjoy it. I wish I could have just lived through YouTube videos instead of going through my own stuff, but I gotta be here for that year.
And I'm saying it right. It's Stefen Chevalier.
Yep, Stefen Chevalier.
Chevalier, yeah, and that's French, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so let's rewind back to who Stefen is. So, Stefen, for people that don't know you, what do you usually tell them? Where you're from, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So again, pause. I'm looking at this camera here.
You just talk to me.
Talk to you.
These cameras are invisible. Yeah.
Cool. I'm from Tooele, Utah. Born and raised from Utah. Lived in Montana for a little bit when I was younger.
You did?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you didn't know that, but
I
moved, and Washington for a couple of years as well.
And Washington? Wait, how come you never told me this?
It's a long kept secret. Really don't want anyone to know. No, I'm just kidding. Washington, Montana's great. I think I moved from Montana when I was 7.
So you remember Montana.
Mm-hmm. I remember there's no tax at a dollar store. You know, it was a big moment coming to Utah, and you're like, I have $2 and I get 2 items. Like, so that's gonna be $1.13. You're like, what? Or $2.13, right? 6 cents a dollar.
Yeah.
And I was shook.
Was it 6 cents back then when you were a kid?
Yeah.
That's impressive. You remember that well. So you moved to Tooele when you were 7?
No, actually moved to West Valley for like maybe 2 years.
Really? What year was this then?
Maybe
this was like the
months.
late 90s?
97, 98, yeah.
Wow.
So then, moved to West Valley for a year and a half, then moved out to Tooele, and we were there until...
So are your parents are they from those areas, or did they, like, what brought them, like, where are they from? Where are your parents from?
My dad was from mostly Montana, and then so like Great Falls area. And then my mom was from Orange County, so Southern California.
I didn't know that either. Mm-hmm. So your parents are from different places. Where did they meet?
I think it was Rick's College or somewhere in honestly, right now I'm going blank of where they met. I know at one point I was born in Provo, Utah, of all the traveling.
At one point you were born?
At one point I was born. I don't remember that one as clear.
If you remembered that, I'd be concerned.
It was a rough day.
But they met in college, basically. Mm-hmm. So, okay. And then your dad's work took him to those different places, or he moved back to Montana?
Yeah, I moved back to Montana.
So your parents got married, and then Provo happened.
Honestly, there's a lot probably in between. I'm the 5th of 9 kids.
9 kids.
And then I guess I'm the 5th of 13 kids. My parents adopted 4 more kids after we were all out of the house.
Like in the past few years that's happened?
Yeah.
Wow, and your parents aren't young, and they're adopting kids, so it's they're definitely busy.
Good for them.
Wow.
It's good to be,
so
be able to give back.
9 kids, you're the 5th one.
The middle one.
So is it girl, boy? What's the order of operations here?
2 older sisters and 2 older brothers, 2 younger sisters and 2 younger brothers. So growing up of the house of 9, I was right in the middle.
So there's like 4 and 4, and then there's 1 in the middle.
That's me.
It's Stefen.
Luckily, I was too loud to be forgotten, so...
But where is that guy?
Yeah, no, that might have happened to someone else. That's the middle child, but no, maybe that forced me to be louder.
Too loud to be forgotten. I haven't heard you say that before. So what does that mean?
I mean, I was never left at a grocery store.
No?
Other siblings might have been, but I'm loud enough that you drive a block away and you're like, oh no, Stefan's not here. Where did he go, right? But
So you were loud when I've never known you as a loud person, Stefan.
I like to joke and have fun.
Yeah.
So,
But it's like a very like subtle, like you're in on the joke type of joking, right? Like you seem to be in on the joke when you tell a joke.
I try to be,
Yeah, you're never on the outside.
if I can help it.
Yeah, because you're right in the middle of the 9.
Always in the middle.
So what was it like growing up as the middle then? You weren't forgotten but you still were a middle child, or do you not identify as a middle child?
Yeah, all jokes aside, I feel like middle child I feel like there's not much of a difference being number 4, 5, or 6 out of 9. It's still a lot of kids.
Still like it's like, what do they call a giant, like a horde, or like a flock of kids? When it's that many kids, is it a different term?
Probably call a lot of terms, but it's a lot of kids.
So when you would show up somewhere, was it ever like, were you ever aware of how many kids that was? Because you were aware of it, obviously.
Yeah, so I grew up very LDS, and like, so coming to an event, like if the Chevaliers didn't come to a ward party or ward event, like half the kids aren't there for the
Half the
entire
ward's
event,
missing.
right? Like, so, oh no, we take up half a bench when everyone comes in.
So you had your own bench at church, essentially. You guys would kind of
Virtually, yeah.
rented the bench, essentially. Yeah.
We had
Or owned
stock.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Paid a 10% fee to have it. And then, kidding, sorry, cut that. I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. But
I'll
yeah,
leave it at all then. This is great.
yeah, go ahead.
So Tooele happens. So Montana happens. You're up to 7 years old. You
Yep.
remember playing in a endless field, like flat field of Montana?
It's Great Falls.
Yeah.
A few memories would be just kind of learn how to ride a bicycle. I remember I had like a red BMX bike. That was fun. It was too big for me.
Was it like a hand-me-down type of situation, or was it yours?
I can't remember. Probably, I don't know. But I remember in that moment it was mine. That's
It
for
was
sure.
yours then.
Yep. I remember going to like an IGA, which is like a old town, kind of like a Smith's or an old Albertsons, but up in there.
Never heard of it.
And I remember getting, like I said, 10 like the suckers for $1 and be excited to spend my $1 and get those. And then again, coming to Utah and not spending that.
I feel like you lived like in an old-fashioned version of the United States. Like you've experienced something few people have. Where like your childhood, there's a formative part of your childhood that you do remember that was in that place with like the 10 for $1 type thing.
Yeah.
So do you ever like think back on that and miss it, or is it something that you never thought of till now?
Do I think back and miss it?
Or
No,
ponder
I think
on
it happened.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel like I need to live in a small town. I don't want to live in a city. I think the few memories I have is Great Falls when you drive into the little valley, though it's beautiful. Like once you drive in, you see all the lights. It just kind of is like home, and it's a good feeling. So I remember that like on long road trips, because we always had family in Utah. It was about a 12-hour drive as well from Great Falls to here. So like when you're driving back and you like see the lights and going into the valley, I enjoyed that. Other memories, my grandparents lived in Great Falls as well, and they lived on a really steep hill. So I remember going to their house a lot. And it's kind of similar to Suncrest, right? Like play with the ball outside, good luck as it rolls down the hill. So I remember that, and like, again, 6 or 7 years old, like it's gone forever.
So you'd lose the ball, you'd never see it again, type of thing.
I'm sure I'd go try and get it, but like, we just didn't play with the ball in the front yard if you could help it.
Yeah, 'cause
They
it
lived
rolled
in a
down
very,
the
very
street?
steep street, yeah.
I thought of it as being a flat place, but I guess there is mountainous parts, so that area is mountainous. But how many kids were in the family when you were living there? Because I'm guessing not all of them were born.
No, they were not all born. Let's see. So obviously the 4 older were definitely there.
Yeah.
Myself, if I'm 6 or like 5 to 6, so probably my 2 next siblings close to me. Because of the 9, the bottom 2 were adopted as well.
Okay.
So all the initial 7 were all in Montana
Wow. All of them were in Montana.
at one point. Yeah, we were.
Wow.
And then when we moved to Utah, West Valley for a couple of years, and then it wasn't until we were in Tooele, and then probably another 5 to 6 years later is when we adopted my other 2 siblings.
Wow. So and they're pretty much in your family from an early point on. So there's like that original 9
My
siblings are there basically. From
when I was
Utah.
in like high school,
Yeah.
my little sister's Shanae, when she was 13, she was adopted, and
Okay.
then my little brother, we babysat him. My mom did and stuff, obviously, from like a young age, and then his mom passed away,
Okay.
and like the night she signed the papers, like the day of that she signed the full adoption papers, like she passed away like within an hour of leaving the facility. So she was like holding on to make sure that went through.
You were there for that when that happened?
I was in the van, like my parents went in, my little brother went in, and then they came out. We were just waiting.
That must have been kind of intense. Like at a young. How old were you when that happened? Then you must have been like a teenager.
That's probably like 10 or 12.
Oh, so you weren't even a teenager. You're just kind of
For that one, no, I don't think so.
Wow. That's intense. So that was in Tooele. Was it in the same house you grew up in Tooele?
Yeah, we stayed in the same house, Tooele.
Really?
The one that you know. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I met Stefen when I moved to Utah, and he's one of the first people I met when I moved to Utah. So I moved here when I was 17, and Tooele High School was like stepping back in time into the 1950s.
Yeah.
From where I was coming from, it seemed like a different place. I was in all over the place, but I was in Oregon, and it was very like different, you know. And then moving back to Utah, it was like
very old-fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
There was cliques. There was like the skaters versus the jocks or whatever. There was all these like well-defined groups that you'd see like in Grease, the musical, you know. And Stefen was kind of like the hero of the school because he was on the swim team, water polo, was it student government. What else was it? He was also super funny. He was killing it in all the areas.
I was a band nerd for a good stint too. I don't know about killing all the areas, but I like to have fun as much as I could. And high school is great. Glad it's in the past.
We'll say that Stefen didn't peak in high school though. He didn't peak there.
No. No.
So you're in Tooele. You go to elementary school in Tooele and everything from 7 on. Did you find that you grew to like Tooele a lot when you were moving there? It was a new place for you. You hadn't been there before, or you had family there.
No, I didn't have any family there in Tooele.
So it was a new place after West Valley.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's just kind of nice for like 30 minutes, 35 minutes out of Salt Lake. So it's a good kind of base for people working in Salt Lake. Similar like Utah County working in Salt Lake. It's a similar drive. It just sounds so much farther when you like jump on 80. And you and I both know this, right? Like people, it's like, they would have those silly commercials like, it's 45 minutes out, but only 30 minutes back or something like that. Like
I've heard more extreme, like 3 hours back, 30 minutes back.
Yeah.
3 hours out and 30 minutes back, wherever that was. Is it RC Willie that does that ad?
I don't know. All I know is Tooele's great. Not for me. I like living a little bit.
So when you're in Tooele, it became your home, and you say you're from there. Like I actually didn't know you lived anywhere but Tooele. So this to me is a shock, like a revelation that you
lived
anywhere
other
else.
Places.
Yeah, you're so diverse, Stefen.
Thank you. Thank you.
So being in Tooele, people probably ask you a lot of specific questions about Tooele, like what was it like growing up there? Or is there anything that stands out to you that you tell people about Tooele that's only in Tooele?
I think people always think it's just a really redneck in the middle of nowhere, and that's what their perception is. But I guess what do I tell about it? It's fun. They got some good canyons that are close by to go camping. If you want to go shoot rabbits in the woods, right, and walk in the sagebrush and wait for a jackrabbit to come out.
Did you do that?
Yeah, I would take my dad's 22 and we'd line up in like a group of 4 and just walk and shoot jackrabbits.
No way. You were like, because I heard that when I moved there, kids would like go out in the desert. You were one of those kids.
Yeah, you'd walk in a straight line. You'd be smart about it. Like have gun safety, know what you're doing. Don't be dumb. And then it was a good time.
Like an old-fashioned like battle, like in like the Civil War era.
We're not battling. We're all on the same team, just to clarify.
The rabbits.
But no, you would just walk in a straight line, and then that way you're being safe about it. And then you'd wait for a jackrabbit to run out, and then doing it with the 22, you got to like be a decent shot. So that was always fun.
And to be clear, there was a lot of rabbits out there.
There was a lot of rabbits.
Like it was like a problem.
It was a problem. Yeah,
it wasn't like just for fun. Like the city was asking people to do it.
I believe so.
That's what I was told at one point.
So you can't shoot the cottontails. It's the jackrabbits that are need to get rid of. So we would do that. And just trying to think. We'd go out in the middle of like Stockton and go paintballing was another one. I found out somebody I work with recently was like, oh yeah, Stockton. I'm like, oh, we do that there. He's like, oh no, that got banned. I'm like, really? He's like,
banned?
Yeah, I guess you can't paintball in that area.
What?
And he's like, what about like all the fire pits and stuff like that? Yeah, can't do that anymore. And I'm like, oh.
Really?
Yeah, he's like he might be like 10 years younger.
It's all urban now then out there.
I guess.
It was like the Wild West when I moved out there because it was 2007 when I moved there. But you experienced like the early 2000s of Tooele.
Yeah, from 3rd grade all the way to high school and a little after.
So what was your favorite memory from, I guess, that area? So when you think about it, obviously it's not for you now. It's got it's quirks and stuff. But what's something you fondly look back on besides shooting rabbits? Is there something?
Very key moment. What is things? I do like how it was a little bit smaller of a school, of an area. There are perks of that, right? Where I'm going to a teacher, and it's the same teacher that taught my older siblings, for good or for bad, right? They're like, you're a lot louder than your older siblings, right? Or
So you would have the same teacher through all the siblings.
yeah, a lot of times they're like, oh, I taught all 3 of your siblings, or like I was on the swim team, and I think majority of my siblings swam in high school, so they knew all of them at some point.
So did that create competition amongst your siblings to like outperform each other year over year? Because you know how like people tracking, you know what I mean? Like they're tracking you in a different way than other kids in the class.
Yeah, in a way they would make it a competition.
It's like you're like the Weasleys, you know, like in Harry Potter, but like in Tooele. Because you're like this big family, you know? Like I'm thinking of size.
But in the reality, it's like Utah has a lot of big families. But yes, Utah has a lot of big families, so it probably also kind of fit in. They were just used to it.
Was there a lot of big ones in Tooele?
I just, in general, in Utah, I feel like there is.
That's true.
So then it didn't feel out of the norm completely.
So like year over year, you mentioned all your siblings swam. I didn't know that either. So they all swam?
I think my older brother wrestled, and then my 2 sisters swam. And my other brother, he played just like a year and a half older than me. He played water polo. He tried to swim, just didn't want to do it. Wasn't for him.
But water polo is more swimming than swimming.
It's swimming. It's like saying basketball and running has more running in basketball, right? There's a lot of running in it, but it's at least has a little bit more of a gameplay strategy.
Okay. But you did both, right?
Yeah, I did both. I liked it.
So you were able to split your time 50-50 on them? Like, that's a lot of sports.
It's like seasonal, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like swimming's going to be for 5-6 months, and then it ends, and 2 weeks later water polo starts. And then it ends about the end of school year, and then summer your swimming practice. And Baja Blast. So no, they don't overlap. They don't overlap.
So you had no break between the sports. You go into swimming, and then you'd go swim for that whole season.
Then like 2 weeks, and then it's water polo, and then after school ends, you might have like a 2-week break, and then summer practice for swimming starts, and then it just repeats.
For real? Did you enjoy that, or was that just what you knew? Like your family did your parents swim? Like who got this swimming thing going?
I think just my older sister did it.
Yeah, and everyone's like, she's doing it. We're all gonna follow her.
I think it was just a good group of people. I think I was actually talking with a coworker at work where it's like it's healthy for your kids to be in some type of team sport. I think it develops a lot. I think it creates a good community, especially if the kids are usually up to better things than not if they're trying to compete in a sport. So it can help there as well. So I think that was advantageous, and I think I just kind of fell into it, and enjoyed it, made a community.
And what age did you start swimming at then?
Not till 9th grade.
Really?
I might have started late 8th.
Is that when that dark band period happened in your life?
Band, that would have been from 7th to 10th, yeah.
What? I don't know what instrument you played in band, but I'm going to guess. I'm going to take a guess. I have 2 guesses.
Go ahead.
Trumpet or clarinet?
That's kind of what I thought you would guess.
Which one is it?
The trumpet.
Yes. Yes. I didn't know. You might have told me at some point, but I don't remember.
That's all right.
Trumpet. So what made the trumpet so cool when you chose it, Stefen?
It's very simple. It's the instrument we had in the house. And that's probably that was it. I think so we got. It was very simple.
So you had this, whose trumpet was it?
It just appeared out of nowhere. It was this magical trumpet. I don't know. I think it was my parents or something. They didn't play it either. I don't know where it came from. It was just there. And then I used it, and then I stopped in 10th grade. I think my little sister used it for a while.
You played trumpet for how many years?
I think 4 years. Actually, I played it.
4 years.
Fun fact, I played it in 4th grade.
What?
In 4th grade, and I went and I remember having to do a solo by myself, and it would have been 4th grade because we would get dropped off. We'd go to the high school and play in what was still the band room in high school, and then get picked up, and then I'd go to elementary after. I think there was some type of format for it. What I do remember is I had to play a solo. I was really bad, and it wasn't good. As most 4th graders playing an instrument should not be good. And I remember I got yelled at, and I cried. I was like, I'm never doing that again. And then I didn't go back. And the only reason I did it in 7th grade, and my parents were like, hey, we'll pay you $10 a month to go play in band. And I was like, all right, fine.
With the trumpet? The trauma trumpet?
That trumpet is back.
The trauma trumpet?
With the same teacher.
The same teacher?
Yeah, just older now.
Did you feel stressed?
I can toughen up now. Did I? I mean, I'm sure I did. But at this point, I was willing to practice a little bit more. You know, I was traumatized from not playing. Trumpetized. I want to toot my own horn on it, but I wasn't good, so I deserved to be yelled at. So fair. Maybe not as a fourth grader, but
you got your embouchure better basically for the latter years. So why did you start in fourth grade? It was like an early enrollment program in fourth grade. That seems so young.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Trumpet. Like there's so many. I want to know like where it came from, and then like what this program was that you're in.
I don't remember the whys. Just remember the moments.
Wow. They're etched in your brain forever.
Like my older siblings getting dropped off of high school, and then I would go into like the band class in the morning, I think.
You know, Chihuahua did have a pretty intense like band thing going on. Like there was a lot of marching band stuff out there. Is that what you were pursuing when you were doing it? Or was it symphonic?
As far as pursuing, I think I was just doing it to do it. I don't think there was like an end goal of like, I'm doing this to accomplish something. I think it's good to be active. I think even now I like just doing activities, getting out, making
You're like
friends.
super active.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, quit asking about the trumpet.
But yeah, the trumpet, I wouldn't say that is a core, I don't think that's a core piece of my life but it was back then.
It's interesting because I
still have that trumpet. It's at my house now.
You still have it?
Yes. When it was given away from my siblings, now we're going to make it a core piece. So just through my parents moving, now it's a core piece. I had no idea. It's very dear to me. No,
it's in the house right now? In your house here in Suncrest?
When
Are you going to hang it up on the wall or something?
It's in my basement. That'll probably be, I've opened up a couple times. It needs to get tuned up because I'm like, I'm going to play it, and then the valve's stuck. And I was like, all right, I can't like play it. Because we played like Pirates of the Caribbean, and every once in a while I want to go play that or just do different things. Or my brother-in-law has a saxophone. He's like, all right, let's come and play. And all of a sudden I go and try it.
I have a saxophone that's totally out of whack too. We should get together and play some weird jazz band thing for the farmer's market.
I would need to get for the farmer's market. I think we just stay in a room
just go up,
where no one else can hear to start. I don't think we send it quite that point.
What if we just walk into the farmer's market and just become this terrible jazz band?
And I quickly am back to fourth grade crying. It's just quick flashback.
Then you have a panic attack.
There's my band teacher.
Oh man, well that's fun. I didn't know that you'd even played that much trumpet. I knew you did band, but I thought it was just a small like 6 months.
Yeah, I did 9th and 10th grade,
Man,
and it was starting to impede with other sports. From like, I think we went to state that year.
What were you
water
playing
polo.
in sport? You're already swimming in it.
Yeah, I was already swimming in water polo, and I
Okay.
remember basketball. They did good, and we had to like go to not a pep rally, but like the games and play at one of the championship games, playoff game. And I wanted to go to a water polo event instead. And I remember it was like they had like sleepover events where we'd have a fun out in Tooele. You'd have a fundraiser selling oranges.
Oranges.
So every year in like February, you
Okay.
can go buy a box of oranges where they pick the oranges the day before, and then they ship it. And like the next day it gets to Utah, and then you go and disperse it and send them out. But we would stay up all night and drink energy drinks, getting crazy in Utah, and playing like Halo.
Get crazy.
Have like 7 TVs set up throughout this house playing Halo. It was really fun.
We did like LAN party Halo.
Yeah.
You did the real deal.
That was like OG in 2005, 2006 type structure. So I remember doing that.
That's a core memory right there.
And I'm trying to remember where I was going with this story.
Yeah.
But I don't remember where I was going with this story.
I think we're just exploring like what did you identify?
This is what made me end actually. Is I was wanting to go to that, and like, no, you have to go to this pep rally or go to this game and play the trumpet. And I was like, no, I don't want to go. I'm doing this. Like this is event. And I was like, all right, well, it looks like it's overlapping too much. I would much rather be doing this than like playing a trumpet for somebody's pep rally.
What age was that then that happened?
It's like 15.
So you're having to make your own decisions.
And I was like a starter on the team, so like I was already. It was already had my community at that point, and it's like you're telling me I can't go where I'd rather be. Then I feel like
you said that to your parents.
To my parents and also to the teacher. Wow. I remember and I was like, all right, this is probably my last year. We did a Disneyland trip at the end of that year, and I quit like the week after. I was like, I'm just in it for Disneyland at this point, and then and I'm out.
The classic Stefen. Yeah. I'm just in it for the Disneyland.
I'm an incentive base. Give me a goal to match, and I was like, that's what I'm doing. I've learned that. It's now overriding what I want to do, and I would rather do the things I'd rather do.
That's pretty insightful, though, Stefen, because you had to make a really hard decision because that was a big part of your life, but it also was you kind of had this like hero's journey with that thing. The trumpet became like a part of your life for a big chunk.
It did, yeah.
And
They
then you
didn't
had
pay me in
to
high
abandon
school.
it or just stop it. Like it became interruptive, right?
Yeah.
Like a trumpet.
Just blasting. Tried to put a mute in it, you know?
Did you ever do the plunger on the trumpet? The thing?
I think I did, yes. I did a little jazz band with it.
Yeah, it's funny. That's awesome. I didn't know any of this about you, so this is fun. I didn't know that. I feel like I knew you, but I don't know you at all.
You don't know me.
So what did you feel like you identified as you got more into water polo and swimming? Because when I met you, you were I felt like your identity was in between three places when I met you, which was like swimming, water polo, and student government. So I'd love to know where that comes into play. So you have water polo and swimming as like kind of something driving you, but then you have this like third thing come in, which is student government, which I think is a huge deal because it's not easy, right?
Yeah, that was really fun. I just did that my senior year as far as student government. I thought it was fun to like get into the programs.
Yeah.
Obviously, I thought the jacket was cool, so I wanted a jacket, right?
Incentive based.
Very much, you know me. Give me a goal, and I will do my best to hit it.
Give me the jacket.
I wanted it. Yeah, I would say, honestly, the water polo and swimming, I feel like it was almost the same group. Like
It was the same people.
I would say who is on water polo, probably 90% of the people are on the swim team, right? But
Because they're in the same pool of
yeah,
people.
same pool.
Get it?
There's a few that would venture out of it from like football players that come play or whatnot. But
Okay.
yeah, so where did I identify in that group? I don't think I was a normal jock as far as like what a jock is, just because I feel like sometimes swimming or water polo, especially at the time where it's more developed in Utah, but it's still not a main sport, still a club
Yeah.
sport. So it might not have been looked similar as a football.
Kind of more like, almost like rebels in a certain sense, like your own little nomadic group doing the sport outside of football and everything else.
Yeah, it didn't get as much
Yeah.
respect, even though we were winning championships, right? Like
No one
it
even knew
wasn't-
you were doing championships. Yeah. Because I remember it was the first time I had seen water polo. I didn't know it existed as a sport until I was 17. Which, I mean, back then, how would you know unless it was happening around you?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's really fun. In fact, I was seeing on my feed, they play like Thursday nights, just pick up games. And I'm like, ooh, I want to go out there.
So have you revisited any of that since being like older now?
I've played
Yeah.
maybe like 6-7 months ago. I'll go. In fact, the last time I went and played might have been the day that it was like the flood raining, and up here in Suncrest as well. It was like the flash flooding where Bangor had all those rocks come in, and the exit off of 144th was just full of rocks. You couldn't get up. Yeah, I was all the way out there with a buddy, and then all of a sudden my wife calls me. It's like, there's flooding. And I was like, oh, I guess I'll turn around.
No way.
That might have been the last time
timing.
I've been. Yeah, it was terrible timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have been able to foresee that. But you went out to Tooele to play?
Just go out there. I
goodness.
think it's good to like exercise, do activities like that.
But there's nothing here like in Draper.
They have some Murray ones. I'm unsure. I'm outside the scene to know when they do pickup games in other places. In the past, I would go do some pickup games somewhere else. It's just fun to play, and like it's very exhausting.
It's fun to jump in.
You really get into it.
Yeah, yeah. So with water polo, what kept you so engaged in it? You mentioned the teamwork aspect and the incentive-driven aspect. So I understand the teamwork part because it's a team sport, right? But where does the incentive part come in for you to keep doing it? Because
I don't think there was ever incentive as far as water polo. Again, I'm not the biggest dude. I'm 5'10". I'm not
last
typically
I checked, you were a tall 5'10".
tall 5'10", absolutely. Probably 5'9", actually, if I do the real measurement, but somebody asked 5'10". Yeah, I wasn't trying to get into college or with water polo and going and play anywhere else. It was more just have fun, enjoy being a kid.
Yeah.
But
and you're
also build a
self-aware of
community.
that. You were like self-aware of that when it was happening. Or
Yeah, is my goals and aspirations to go play? Sure, I'm sure everybody would love to, but just living in the moment and just trying to have fun.
So back then, your goals and aspirations must have been somewhat. You must have some kind of sight on what you wanted out of those things, doing them, or was there because you tended to pursue hard things, and was that to prove something to yourself, or what were you looking to at that point? You never take the easy path.
I mean, I feel like, yes, I feel like I do in the sense of like, it's there, this is what others did, so I'm just going to kind of follow that route and just go. So I probably just like went with the flow.
You're aware of the flow, I guess.
But I also was determined. I think my brother did swimming and like, oh, he didn't do it, it was too hard. In his defense, the whole pool was torn down, the old Tooele pool. And so the kids would do swimming outside at Desert Peak. And like in the winter, you're
geez,
you better bring
in
your
the winter?
sandals. In the winter. So then the pool was usually heated, sometimes heated. And so it's fairly rough. So my brother's a freshman, not good at swimming. And he's having to swim in an outside pool in the wintertime. And it was fairly rough. And
Is it even heated?
I think it was heated to an extent, but I don't know how heated. And it wasn't good. Like my sister was there at the time, but she'd done it a few years and already built her friends. Yeah. But like my older brother did it and was like, yeah, bailed. And so I think when they came to me, it's like, oh, are you going to bail? Are you going to bail? Is it going to be too hard? And so I was like, no. So then I was committed from a young age. Like, no, I'm not going to quit.
You did it outside in the winter?
By the time I was a freshman, they built a brand new pool. So I didn't have to go through that.
Okay. I was about to go, wow, Stefen, I'm impressed.
No.
But now I'm just, okay.
Whatever. No, not important. Not easy. Anybody can swim.
But student government wasn't easy. I mean, running for senior year, the meanest people are ever in their lives are when they're in high school. And you're out there, vote for me, what pushed you that direction? Besides this being fun, was there anything you saw, the jacket, but beyond that, anything you saw, like I want to run for this specific office? You chose an office to run for.
I just was a senior class officer.
Yeah.
I was just, it looks like they have fun. They're doing it's fun to plan activities and like, it's fun the sub for Santa and different programs were really fun too, but.
And then the communal, like teamwork part of it, was there teamwork that you enjoyed there that was similar to water polo, or was it a little different?
Yeah, it came. Yeah. The community as well. It came there. It's fun. People are just happy and nice. Typically, if you're in a position like that or find yourself there, you probably are there because you're a happy and nice person usually, right? There's other things you can get there too, but everyone's just happy and willing to help out, just trying to make the days better.
And they're trying to be a little popular too, right? It's trying to be cool, right?
That's right.
So when you look back at Tooele, you have an identity of what you were there, and maybe you're different now. I would say you're a little different now than you were then.
I very much say that.
Yeah. And I'd say you seem a lot happier now, especially from even when you first were in Tooele when you were finishing high school.
Yep.
What do you think is the biggest shift or change that's happened from then to now? That you look at yourself and go, what do you care about now? What are the things that make Stefen Chevalier today?
I mean, I'm trying to think then to now. Obviously, I'm married with a wonderful wife. Mm-hmm. She makes me very happy.
She's listening right now, probably.
She might listen. Actually, at this point, she's already out. She's like, this takes too long. You're talking too much.
She drugged the play bar?
She's heard all my stories.
How long is this?
Yeah, she's like, yeah, pass.
She heard the trumpet one yet?
She has heard a lot of it. I don't know. If she's heard all the trumpet
I'll tell
stories.
her a story she hasn't heard then. I'm just kidding.
Yes. She absolutely loves it when I take the trumpet out and play it. It's her favorite.
But now you're married now. You have your homeowner in Suncrest, which we'll get to. But you seem to be more driven now than ever before. Like you seem to have a good grasp on your aspirations. Like I've seen you do a lot of things in a short period of time. Right? Yeah,
I enjoy where I'm at. I'm enjoying my state of life where we currently don't have any kids, and it's just kind of us two that we can hang out and have a good time. Mm-hmm. And we're also able to go and do things I didn't do when I was younger, right?
What's an example of something you enjoy doing now that you didn't do when you were younger?
Well, being in Suncrest, you got to learn to mountain bike. So mountain biking, snowboarding as well. Did my first season snowboarding last year.
Okay, how'd it go?
I mean, at first it was rough. Luckily you were there to teach me. Good snowboarding teacher.
I taught him how to snowboard, kind of. He actually taught himself. I was just watching.
You taught me, and then I YouTubed, and then I'm still learning.
It was mostly you teaching yourself. I mean, you had watched all these videos, and I just was like, you just got to lean back.
Yeah, I'm still very stiff. No, you did a really good job helping me out, and I appreciate that. So thanks for being there.
Yeah.
So that was fun. Okay. So just be able to do a lot of things that I didn't do growing up. So I didn't come from a ton of money, to be very honest with you, and so it's fun to go out and do things that I love to travel.
Yeah. Where do you like to travel to? So you've been to a lot of places.
Recently, yeah. We did Egypt. It was going to be right during 2020, but it had to be pushed back a couple years. But Egypt, Thailand, Morocco, and Greece would be our four most recent foreign locations that we travel to.
Yeah. Those are all just really distinct places too.
They're very fun.
Was there as a child, did you see something that kind of pushed you to travel in that area?
No, I think my wife's more the traveler, and I'm blessed that she has that as a hobby because now I've learned to love it as well.
Yeah, you can inherit some of it without the stress.
Yes, yeah. And then I always liked cruising. After I was like 18,
Cruises?
went to go on cruises. I think they're really fun too.
Do you do cruises, Stefen?
We haven't for the last few years because we're doing the other travel agency. So it's the one that I've gone on the big trips is you book the trip and then they're there waiting for you at the airport. You get in a bus, they take you to the hotel. It's like, it's
sign
awesome.
And you have the driver.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of any trip if you get to do that. You feel so fancy if someone's holding a sign with their name on it.
Sadly, it's not my name exactly. It's the name of the travel agency. But I'm like, hey, I know you guys. What's
but
up?
imagine if someone's like Chevalier and it's just
Please.
for you. If anyone wants to impress any of us,
It's a Hallmark movie. Let us know.
I'll just hold your name up on the iPad next time I drive. I'll drive by your house and just hold it. But you learned to love travel.
Yeah.
But did you want that when you were younger, or did you kind of inherit that, just kind of not knowing?
I think. I don't think I just knew. So when we were younger, our vacations were either camping or it was like a cross country road trip to see all the Mormonism that is out there, right? So you do the Mormon tour from.
There's a bit out there too.
There is a bit,
and it's far away.
We would get there, yes. So that was fun, and I enjoyed that as well. I think anything you can do, you can have fun and have a smile with it. But yeah, I definitely enjoy more of getting on a plane and flying somewhere.
So that I know you're good at driving. You enjoy driving. You've mentioned I like driving. Is that because you had these long stints of driving as a family where you got to kind of bond, or is it that's just something you just inherently like doing?
As far as the driving trips, it came to enjoy fun moments. I had a lot of fun. I don't know if I can really say I enjoy driving. I'm not bad at it. I'm pretty good at driving.
You don't enjoy? I'm just putting those words in your mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, you've never said that before.
I don't think I can say I enjoy driving. No, the only enjoyment on my drive is like on my commute home to kind of decompress and like that's my time for like an audiobook or like my podcast. Like I enjoy that part of the drive within it's kind of
that's what I understood then. Okay.
But as far as like, do I want to go drive 5 hours? Sure, if I'm going to end at Vegas at the end of it, then I could probably get behind a 5-hour drive.
There it is.
Put me at the blackjack table and sit. I would prefer not to do the drive though, if I could help it.
So what I'd love to ask a little bit then is you seem to have found some great hobbies. So you had like your core things in high school, but you've really, I think, grown into all these different varieties of hobbies. You've got, like you love like a good blackjack table.
Yep.
Right? Like you're good at it. But like you found that on your own. And then you've also pursued other hobbies like travel. What are things that you're currently, or things you've learned that you've enjoyed, like enjoy now that you do now?
I would say traveling, a big fan of snowboarding, mountain biking. I do some hunting a little bit. My father-in-law and my wife's family are big hunters. So getting into that, I need to book another trip and maybe get some like wild boar, but.
So people who haven't met you yet, if they walked into your house and they start walking down your stairs in part of the house, they might bump into some artifacts or something from hunts.
Yeah, that would be my wife's. I'd be her bear. Probably find a bear on the wall.
You'd barely notice it though.
Yeah, it's not unbearable. I can leave it at that. Might find a gator head, gator skull. Might find a bear skull.
It's kind of these kind of like really niche, kind of exotic, but they're doing it all with like legal tags and all that stuff. So it's totally above bar type hunting, but really interesting.
Yeah. Hunting is good for the environment. Just want to clarify, like they give a lot back, and it helps a lot of things. So I'm grateful for that.
I've never actually been hunting, so I have no idea what people do besides like just wait.
Sometimes it's not called killing; it's called hunting. So sometimes you just be out there chilling, right?
You're just out there chilling, but you can't talk though because you'll scare the animals away. So you can't do this.
Yes, no, it's like whisper.
It's like, hey, Stefen, how have you been?
No, you just sit there and be quiet. Sometimes it depends on the hunt.
Yeah, that's why no one takes me.
Yours would be watching. What are we doing? We're watching squirrels and trees.
So when do we shoot at them?
Oh, they've been scared for hours, my friend. Don't worry.
We've already scared them off.
Yeah.
I'm just here to be nice. So I would love to know how you met your wife. So that's a big part of your life, and I think your lifestyle, being in Suncrest and being more active outdoors. She's a very active person. How did you guys meet? Because I don't think I've heard the whole story.
Yeah, I'll probably still get a summed up story, but long story short.
She's watching.
Are you watching, babe? We had a lot of connections through our friendship that when we go back and talk about different scenarios, that we probably had interaction, we just didn't know it.
Really?
Probably for like a good year and a half. And then I was going to I was closing up my storage unit. So I had knocked door to door with Vivint. So like door to door sales for like 5 years.
Okay.
And it was actually right before my last summer. I was closing my storage unit because I was able to leave us stuff in the house. And she was in there working at the storage unit. And I was like, wait, I know this girl. And then
She was working at the place? I didn't know that. Yeah.
But I was in there and I just was like, wait, I know her. And so I went back in my truck when we were leaving and I liked the post of her because I followed her on Instagram. That's how I knew her. So like there was.
You've been following the storage unit Instagram?
No, I was following her on Instagram.
Her
so
on
like,
Instagram.
Yeah, it was like a nice, steady, probably year and a half.
Of following?
Yeah, I was a good follower.
Of stalking?
Just a nice stalker, yeah. Yes. I was going to go on a tangent, but I won't. You don't get all of it. So long story short, I liked that post and she says, nice to meet you.
So you didn't message her ever? She messaged you then?
After I liked a photo from like 8 months ago of her sitting in her office. So like I went back on the Instagram, found a picture of her sitting in her office.
So she remembered that one? So did she mention
And then
that?
it said, Stefen liked the picture, right? And then at that point, then she's like, nice to meet you. And I was like, you too.
She like locked in your brain?
I was like, we should go on a date. It's like Wednesday. I'm like, maybe Tuesday. So I'm like, yeah, what about Thursday? You mean like 2 days from now? I'm like, yeah. My sister's wedding's on Friday.
What was your response?
I mean, within reason. I was like, my sister's wedding's on Friday and I leave for summer sales on Saturday. So Thursday's about the day I can do it.
They'll be gone.
Yeah.
A one-time offer.
Had to make it good. So yeah, went on a date.
Yeah.
It was really fun. We had a good time. Left for summer. We went again on Saturday and then I left for summer sales on Sunday.
2 dates sequentially.
Yeah, Thursday and Saturday.
Wow, that's a lot of dates back to back.
So we had four-wheelers back then. So we went four-wheeling out in 5 Mile. Had to look good on those like 2 dates.
Yeah. You were selling hard then. You were really like, you're gonna want to wait for me to get back from this. Okay.
Yeah. And then we were talking, and then we synced up when I got back from summer sales in September, and then since then that was 2015. Wait, 2016.
2016. Man, that seems like it was recent, but it's also not.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's like almost 10 years ago. So whenever you met, did you kind of know that this was the person you wanted to seriously date? Because those are pretty committed dates.
Right then, I mean, she's very, very cute, so had my attention, right? And she was fun. She's witty. I remember in summer sales, she flew out for a week. And in summer sales, I almost never took time off.
She flew out to you?
So we went to like North or South Padre. You probably don't know what it is, but it's like right off Texas. It's like a little resort town.
No idea.
I called my boss and told him, I'm like, hey, I'm going to take a week off. I'm flying this girl out here.
Wow.
At this point, I've done summer sales for 5 years, and dating for me was kind of hard in that relationship where you got to date somebody and be like, hey, hope you're committed because I'm going to be gone in 4 months. So like, it's just, for me, that was a challenge. And I remember I was like, no, I like this girl. I think it could be something. I'm going to take a week off, which I haven't taken a week off in 5 years of doing this job. And I remember calling my boss and being like, hey, I actually think this could be like a potential wife or suitor. Either way,
you said
like
it to him?
I just said, I think this could be serious. And I'm flying this girl out here. And he got really mad at me. Like, why are you even out here? What's wrong with you?
Really?
Oh yeah.
What a reaction. This is terrible.
That's when I realized he didn't care for me at that moment. So I turned my phone off. And then I was like, I'm done doing summer sales. At least I'm not going back with this guy because obviously he doesn't care for me enough to like want that to happen. So
here's the cat.
Yep.
For some reason, he's okay with guests, but he doesn't want to come talk to me. That's intense. That's like a pretty traumatic event. I mean, it's your career at that point, and then your boss is blowing up on you over you trying to do something. Normal.
In that moment, I realized time to go. So I finished the summer, and I was clearly not going back.
Really?
Yep.
So you mentioned something I never really thought about deeply, but you probably have thought about, numerous times, which is dating with summer sales in the mix.
Yeah, that was hard.
So was that omnipresent as you did it, or was it something that you kind of passively dealt with as it happened?
So say your question again. Sorry.
So was it hard to manage that? Like,
yeah.
Were you constantly like fighting that? Were you wrestling that problem, or was it a problem at all?
No, it was a problem. I didn't really date when I was out in the summer in different environments. So it was mainly in Utah. So I would just go work and work really hard for those 4 or 5 months.
You were killing it. I mean, you'd go out and you'd come back. You're like, Jordan, I killed it.
I would do above average. I wouldn't say killed it, but I did above average and like was able to put myself in a good spot. But
yeah, but you tend to do above average on most things you do. Is that true?
Maybe besides the trumpet, yeah. I made it back to it.
We still have an opportunity to trumpet around. Right? You're petting a cat. But we could totally do the jazz band thing still. I think it's on the table.
It's there.
So coming, I guess, full circle, you meet Jen, your wife.
Yep.
And you have a great couple first dates. She comes out. You guys are there. Is there a moment where you're like, I quit, but also that at that moment we kind of left off on a cliffhanger, like. What happened after you talked to him? You kept the summer going, the rest?
Yeah, at this point,
okay.
It's a back-end structure, right? So you leave, you're not going to get paid the rest of your money. So I figured it's financially, I'm just going to play this summer out, make the most money, make the most of it. And I realized at that point, though, I was going to find a different venture.
And you told Jen this, like you kind of called her and stuff and told her.
Yeah, and I wasn't like, I'm quitting for you, right? It wasn't that. It was, I'm annoyed that they don't care for me enough. Take out that tree.
The cat is in the
unacceptable. Tree. Get in there. Keep going up.
You can't write this type of stuff. This is how it is.
It's a cat tree. It's a tree cat.
It's a tree cat.
Tree. Okay. Yeah. So it wasn't so much I'm quitting for her. It was more I'm quitting for my employer. Had no desire to help me and was.
Because he showed his hand. He's like, I don't care about you.
It's very clear that's what happened, and I was all right with it. It was clear I needed to make a move.
So that influenced how you treat your employees, because now you're in charge of a pretty sizable team.
It is. Yeah, I would say I want what's best for people. I at least try to find the best thing for them. If someone is leaving, I want it to be that they're going somewhere better, right? And there's different things where it's good to have a life balance, and I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
And I think people forget there's good to have balance in a lot of things, and it's not about one area.
Because you've done the whole one area thing, and it ends up just not being fulfilling because you can have it all fall out.
Yeah, it wasn't getting all of the pieces that I needed for sure.
And I've met some of your team through different interactions. This cat's going crazy, and they all kind of say that a similar thing, which is that they respect you as a boss and they like working with you. So you're doing something right. But people who don't know what you're doing right now, what are you currently doing for work? Where do you work at right now? What's your role?
Yeah. I work for Vivint. It's like the home security. I work in their calls. So also NRG, right, is the owner of Vivint. I work at the call center in Provo, and I'm part of the outbound sales department. So I just run a team of 15, 16 pros.
What do you guys? You guys are kind of you're in charge of that team. Like you keep them all kind of on task and.
Yeah, they're all very skilled, so I just do what I can to help them out.
You're trying to keep up with them, and they're trying to keep up with you. It's one way or the something like that.
Yeah, no, it's actually really fun.
You seem passionate about it still, which is important, right?
Yeah, it's fun to I have anyone from somebody starting out their job for their first time doing a career job versus I have somebody who's in their 60s. So I have a nice variety of people that I work with, and it's nice to see people in different stages, from somebody just making the most money they've ever made on a check to somebody who is providing for their big family, and this is their
9 kids.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think if anyone has 9 kids.
So when you see a family with 9 kids, do you have an immediate I understand what that is, or do you just kind of walk straight past it and don't even see it? Don't notice it.
I say bless their hearts, good for them. It's a lot of patience. It's obviously very enjoyment to have so many kids, and kids are awesome.
Yeah, it's got to be something.
I will stick with my dinkwad life.
A dinkwad, for those who don't know what it is
a dual income, no kids with a dog.
Yeah.
Love my dog and my wife, of course.
Right.
Yeah, kids are great.
So tell me about the so your phase of life now, the dinkwad life. What is it that there's a dog in the mix now? So tell me about that, because that's a big part of. I've noticed you've gotten a lot happier since getting the dog, right?
Yeah, I would imagine it's a lot of things. Like there's just,
Yeah.
I'm just happier in my life. And
Or
like,
in general, you're happy.
in general, yeah.
Yeah. Because you weren't sad before, but you seem to have like, you're excited to see the dog, and like
I love my dog.
I've been over and the dog's happy. It's like a really good dog.
He's a very good, he's a cuddler. He's a great dog.
What's his name?
His name's ISO. ISO. It's not a camera feature. It is, and it's, I also am not in search of, right? In search of.
What are you looking for? Yeah.
Right? Every time I see it on my feed, like ISO 4, and I'm like, why are they talking about my dog? No, so it stands for isolation. So we got him in March of 2020.
During COVID.
Yeah. So Jen, my wife, works in finance, and she was sent home to work remote. I was also working remote for a certain time, and we were going to get a dog eventually in a single family location.
Yeah.
We were just in a townhome in Saratoga at the point.
Okay.
And it went from like, hey, can we get a dog? Ooh, not till we have a yard. And like, well, we're both working remote. We can potty train him. And I was like, okay. And I think I said that like on a midday. By the end of the night, it was like, all right, we found the dog, and we were picking one up.
It was that quick?
It was like,
it wasn't a discussion.
It was like 12
or
or 24
decision.
hours. Yeah, it was like, hey, we're going to get a dog. We're doing this. All right. And so he's a Legato Romagnolo, or it's an Italian water dog. It's basically it's a purebred hyperallergenic dog. So it looks like a golden doodle. We thought he was a golden doodle when we bought him.
I thought he was too till now, this very moment.
And then when we did the DNA test at PetSmart that comes with the pet puppy insurance, that's when they're like, oh no, it's like 90% Italian water dog.
So is he worth more than a golden doodle because it's purebred?
In theory, it should be. I think he should have gone to California for like maybe just $2,500 or $3,000, but they couldn't ship him due to the COVID stuff. So we got him for like
but they listed him as
$600 or
as a
$900.
golden doodle? Mm-hmm. Wow, I feel like that's.
But that markets correctly, right? Is people don't know to look up Italian water dog to find a hyperallergenic.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't even know to type that in.
Exactly. So it makes sense to market as a doodle when it's everything somebody wants out of a doodle without actually being a doodle. No,
So-
really good temperament, well trained. Does have doodle-like behaviors. He's a good
behaviors.
dog.
What's his biggest personality trait that you think he has? Like, you've had him
Loves
for
to fetch.
a long time now.
Yeah, 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, he loves to play fetch.
Okay.
And he'll tell you what he wants. He's communicative.
I feel like he's pretty good with kids. Like I've noticed he's pretty like good at playing with kids.
Yeah.
Is that because you have kids around the dog?
Yeah, my nephew lives in Lehigh that we hang out with a lot.
Yeah.
So he's used to dogs.
So now the part of the story that I think people are interested. How did you find Suncrest? And what? And you've lived through some crazy winters here. So tell us the story of Suncrest and how you're here today.
So went to the Ridge probably the first time finding Suncrest, probably like 2018, maybe 19. And we actually came up here because they allowed dogs. And so it wasn't with our current dog, but it was my brother and sister-in-law's dog. We all came up here for like a brunch. That was fun. And then fast forward a few years later, this would have been, actually the bad winter was 22 to 23, right? That was a really bad winter.
2 years ago.
Okay, so then we moved in 21. I was just checking my dates.
I remember you calling me, Jordan, should I dig a trench for the flooding or should I not?
Yeah, that was rough.
How many water sump pumps do I need?
Yeah, I still have it. I still have my sump pump.
6.
Yes. No, yeah, what brought up, I think Jen found a location in the Edelweiss community.
Okay.
And yeah, she found it was a new build. It was something that kind of fit what we were looking for.
Right.
But I just remember, and she still was working Salt Lake, I'm working in Provo, so it was kind of splitting the drive instead of being in Saratoga, were closer for me and really far for her.
That's true, yeah.
And then it just kind of seemed like it would be a good fit, but I wasn't sure about the mountain. And so I called you that lived here, and I was like, ooh, I know Jordan actually moved there.
Yeah.
And I was expecting not to have like amazing reviews. I don't know why, it just was. I was thinking the drive was going to be hard or
Right.
something. This was prior to going through the big winter. She had nothing bad to say. And
I was beaming. I was like,
you were
dude,
like, I've been waiting for someone to ask me this question.
Yeah.
Suncrest is amazing. Best decision ever.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, the community is great. Getting out of the smog is great. Getting out of like the Utah County judgmental, kind of the Mormon vibe sometimes.
Yeah.
Also was really good to get out of.
Yeah.
So it was just like nice area to move to.
Yeah.
And yeah, we were like, okay. And I remember we came up and drove probably the next day. Actually, randomly had COVID right at this time.
You had COVID?
But it's a flu now, right?
Yeah.
And I remember like driving by and just looking at the property, and we went under contract. Like, we're like, yeah, this looks good.
You knew that quickly. I didn't realize you decided that fast.
It was probably within a few days.
What are you guys doing?
They just biffed it into the wall.
Oh no.
What's that noise?
Sorry. They just.
There's like a toy. Is that a toy going off? What is that sound?
That's that.
Thing. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Suncrest, you get under contract. Went off the rails there.
Yes. So yeah, went under contract, and then a year later we end up moving into the home.
And you guys it was a brand new build. So you guys kind of.
I think it actually was 2022 when we moved in. We went under contract in 2021, moved into
Yeah.
2022. So like January, February 22.
And then you got blasted with, because I remember telling you, yeah, Stefan, the winters aren't as bad as you'd think because you get used to it. And we've been through a couple winters now.
And they haven't been that bad. Just
Yeah.
make sure you get this Aria snowblower. It's going to be worth it. Don't go smaller. I didn't actually take that advice. I have an electric snowblower. It works good enough. If we go through a big winter, I know everyone's going to argue that's not true. I should go Aria. Just have the pins that break. I've never had a gas snowblower. But long story short,
One day.
if it gets bad like it did the bad one, I've already told my wife I'm willing to buy that. But I like the electric snowblower that's quiet and just does what I need, and it typically works.
Well, when you get the Aaron's 32-inch width blade with the EFI injection, you'll be changing your tune pretty quickly because you'll be done in seconds.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Aaron's. Just kidding.
Click the link below to get an extra 10% off from the local Steve. He's the one that helps out.
Yeah, we pretty much keep that company in business just being here. It's the orange ones if you're new here, the orange snowblowers. So 2022 happens, and then it goes into the winter, and I feel like you were like, you called me, you were like, Jordan, I think you kind of oversold me on this a little bit.
So I wasn't into snowboarding or skiing at that point, so the winter was very much my hobby was snowblowing, if I had to pick. And then I think I didn't mountain bike in the summer as well, so I was missing some of some fun parts of Suncrest, of mountain biking.
Yeah.
And then I just, that was fun to get through.
And you guys have some amazing views and access from where you're at for trails. Excuse me. There's a lot of Baja Blasts wanting to.
The sponsor.
It's carbonated. So you have some amazing views close to your house, and then it's also just a really nice area. Your streets, it's a hill, which is funny because you grew up worrying about the ball thing. Yeah. So I wonder if that drew you into that area.
That's what it was. No, I love the views.
Full circle.
It's gorgeous to be able to see Temp and Lone Peak just right from your windows, and it's just nice to have a little bit quiet. It's very quiet, right?
And you mentioned you don't want to be in a big city. You like the small town, the Tooele feel, the Montana. Yeah, something about that.
I don't want a big city, but I also don't want to live in a small town, right? So this suburbia is probably where I'm at, and probably where I'll be the rest of my life.
What draws you into this size? Like, what made you kind of comfortable and happy with this versus the other outlying options?
I guess I've never really lived in a big city. It's probably one of the reasons. But now knowing why I don't want that is like when we do go to when we go to New York or different places, I'm like, so where are they letting their dog out? They have to. You can't even go potty unless you take him on a walk. Like, where's his yard to play in? Like, and I can only imagine that would be worse if I had kids. Like, so where can kids play? Like, I like having that option for having the space.
Yeah, when there's just concrete everywhere, no matter how far you walk, it can feel a little bit stressful to me too.
I mean, I think you can make your zen or your home wherever it be, but I think I like the space of suburbia.
Yeah, and so looking forward, you're probably going to be here for the next while because you've got great interest rates on your home.
Hard to leave now. Yeah, I would say I'm here for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what we play for it. So
yeah. Well, we're happy to have you here, and honestly, I feel like every time someone's talking to you or me about Suncrest, there's only good things being said about it, minus that one winter. But even that was kind of fun,
I still enjoyed it. Fun stories to tell. I'm happy I lived through it. I'm glad I have the wires and the cable strung through it, so I don't have any ice damming ever can happen.
Gosh.
And it's a great. I love living here. Amen.
Yeah.
It's
amen.
No,
hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Praise Suncrest. No, it's been really fun. It's a good community. I like the little HOA activities that they have.
Yeah.
And it's just.
So you're telling people about Suncrest. Has anyone called you the same way you called me and asked you about the community. Has that happened ever? Or,
No, I don't think so.
Or if you're explaining it to somebody who's never heard of it, what do you generally tell them? Do you try to sell them on living up here, or do you try to keep it secret?
No, secret. Actually, don't move here. It's horrible. No, actually, I say it's great. I don't think I'm trying to sell anyone on being here. No one's asked me that. I just say I love living up here. It's on the backside of Traverse. Get used to snow blowing and a lot of snow during the winter, but it's usually not that bad. They plow pretty quickly. It's
definitely like shaped a lot of your big hobbies and interests, though, which is interesting. Like the place you live makes you who you are to such a high degree. And I think Suncrest embodies that more than most places I've lived.
Yeah, I couldn't open my garage and I have a bike in there, right? Had to fit in. No, honestly, mountain biking's so fun.
You got good. I mean,
I got good enough to ride trails. No, I wouldn't say I'm Jordan Gibby good, but no, I have a good time.
The thing is, you were riding faster than me last time we went riding together.
No.
Yeah.
Uphill with my quicker e-bike.
I mean, you have an analog bike too.
That's true. I'm just saying. The only time I was ever quicker is you're like, I think your turbo works quicker. I'm like, yeah, that might be the only time. So, no.
Well, I got to lose some weight if I want to get fast on the e-bike. Well, Stefen, we're about at the hour mark. So Jen's probably long gone at this point.
Yeah, she's gone.
Yeah. But hey, let's do a cheers to the Suncrest life here. And everybody, if you haven't come on the podcast yet, we'd love to have you on the podcast. Now you know Stefen Chevalier. If you want to meet him in person, you can find him. Where can people find you? On Facebook.
Sure, I'm LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. If you want a friends and family deal for Vivid, let me know. Hook you up.
He'll hook you up, yeah.
Get you the best I can.
Yeah, and no one's be breaking into your stuff. That's for certain.
That's right. Protect your family.
Yeah, unless it's him, because he knows how to get in.
Yeah.
Well, Stefen, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Longtime friend, but also longtime resident here at Suncrest now. So part of the Suncrest, neighborhood.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, man.
See you, everybody.
See you guys.